The 2025 NFL season began in Philadelphia with quiet confidence and heavy expectations. The sting of missed opportunities in recent years still lingered, but the core of the team, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Haason Reddick, and a veteran offensive line led by Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, remained intact. The city's passion was as fierce as ever, the fans demanded redemption, not excuses. After losing heartbreakingly to the Chiefs 2 seasons prior in Super Bowl 57 and failing to return the following year, the Eagles entered the new campaign with one goal: to finish the job. Nick Sirianni knew this team had all the pieces. The front office had spent the off-season strengthening the defense, adding depth at linebacker and defensive back, while ensuring Hurts had every weapon necessary to dominate. There was no talk of rebuilding, the Eagles were built to win now. From the first day of training camp, the focus was sharp, the energy different. Hurts' leadership, calm but commanding, set the tone. "We're not chasing ghosts," he told his teammates. "We're writing our own story." Week 1 against Dallas served as the spark. Lincoln Financial Field thundered as Hurts led the Eagles to a thrilling fourth-quarter comeback, finding A.J. Brown on a 35-yard strike to seal the game. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. The offense looked fluid, the defense fast and ruthless. Analysts across the league began whispering that Philadelphia was back in championship form. The early part of the season wasn't without challenges. A mid-season road trip to San Francisco and Kansas City tested their mettle. Against the 49ers, the Eagles fell behind 17-0 but stormed back behind Hurts' dual-threat brilliance and Brown's physical dominance. They lost narrowly in overtime, but the message was clear: they would never quit. The following week in Kansas City, in a nationally televised rematch of their previous Super Bowl loss, Hurts engineered a near-perfect game, throwing for 3 touchdowns and running for another as Philadelphia silenced Arrowhead with a 34-20 victory. Revenge wasn't the goal, but it felt sweet. By mid-season, the Eagles sat atop the NFC East at 8-2. Their offensive balance was unmatched. DeAndre Swift provided explosiveness from the backfield, Devonta Smith's route precision kept defenses guessing, and tight end Dallas Goedert remained Hurts' safety valve on critical downs. Meanwhile, the defense, anchored by Reddick and rookie sensation Jalen Carter, terrorized quarterbacks. The pass rush led the league, and the secondary, bolstered by the experience of Darius Slay and the youth of Khalil Ringo, became opportunistic. Every Sunday, Philadelphia played with purpose, a controlled aggression that mirrored their city's identity. In December, adversity struck when Lane Johnson suffered an ankle sprain, and the offense briefly faltered. A shocking home loss to the Giants caused panic among fans and headlines questioning whether the Eagles. The night before the Super Bowl was unusually quiet in the Eagles' camp. In the team hotel, laughter and conversation faded early as players retreated to their rooms. Jalen Hurts sat by the window, watching the New Orleans skyline flicker under the glow of streetlights. He thought about the journey, the near misses, the critics, the doubters, the moments when everything felt like it might fall apart. He closed his eyes and whispered to himself, "This is the moment we've worked for." Game day dawned bright and humid, with the streets surrounding the Superdome painted in green and white. Fans poured into the city from every direction, some from Philly, others from around the country, singing the Eagles' fight song in hotel lobbies and on street corners. Inside the locker room, Coach Sirianni stood before his team. His voice carried quiet conviction. "You've already earned this," he said. "Now finish it. Play your game, play for each other, and don't let go until the clock hits 0. As the teams took the field, the energy was electric. The Kansas City Chiefs were seeking their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. Patrick Mahomes, calm and confident, stood on one sideline. On the other, Jalen Hurts exuded determination, his eyes locked ahead, jaw tight. The opening kickoff thundered through the air, and the battle began. The first quarter was a defensive chess match. Philadelphia's front line dominated the trenches, forcing Mahomes into quick throws. Haason Reddick broke through for an early sack that sent the Philly crowd into a frenzy. On offense, the Eagles leaned on their identity, steady runs from DeAndre Swift, short completions to Devonta Smith, and the unstoppable, brotherly shove when it mattered most. Midway through the first quarter, Hurts capped a 10-play drive with a 12-yard touchdown strike to A.J. Brown, who fought off two defenders in the end zone. The crowd erupted. The scoreboard read 7-0, and the tone was set. Kansas City answered swiftly, as Mahomes found Travis Kelce on a deep seam route that reminded everyone why the Chiefs were still the kings of clutch moments. The first half evolved into a heavyweight duel, two teams trading blows, refusing to yield. Hurts used his legs to keep drives alive, evading pressure and delivering pinpoint passes under duress. His chemistry with Brown and Smith was surgical. The offensive line, anchored by Jason Kelce, refused to break, giving Hurts the seconds he needed to work magic. As halftime approached, the Eagles led 17-14 after Jake Elliott nailed a 49-yard field goal. In the locker room, there was no wild celebration, just controlled intensity. Hurts walked around the room, looking each teammate in the eye. "We finished this," he said softly. "Every yard, every hit, every second, it's ours." The third quarter began with fireworks. On the opening drive, Mahomes led a brilliant march downfield, finding Rashee Rice for a touchdown that gave Kansas City their first lead. But Philadelphia didn't flinch. The sun rose over Philadelphia the morning after the victory, casting a soft glow across the city that had waited years for this feeling again. Every street was alive with echoes of celebration, honking cars, waving flags, and strangers hugging each other in green jerseys. For a city that defined itself through grit and loyalty, this championship was more than a title, it was a statement that perseverance always finds its reward. Inside the team's charter flight home, the Eagles carried more than a trophy, they carried pride, validation, and memories that would live forever. Jason Kelce, usually the loudest voice on the plane, sat quietly by the window, staring out at the clouds with tears in his eyes. Lane Johnson leaned across the aisle, raising a glass of champagne. "To one hell of a ride," he said. Laughter followed, but it was the kind that comes from exhaustion mixed with joy. They had climbed the mountain and planted their flag. When the team plane touched down, fans were already waiting at the airport despite the freezing wind. They chanted, "Fly, Eagles, fly," as the players stepped off the plane holding the Lombardi Trophy high. Hurts, dressed simply in his team tracksuit and a championship cap, smiled and raised his hand to the crowd. "This is for Philly," he said softly, his voice nearly drowned out by the roar. The days that followed became a blur of emotion. The championship parade was something out of a dream. The streets of Philadelphia turned into a river of green, fans climbing light poles, waving banners, and singing the fight song at the top of their lungs. The double-decker buses carrying players moved slowly through the sea of humanity. Hurts stood at the front, trophy in hand, his calm demeanor replaced with a rare grin. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith danced, spraying champagne over fans who screamed their names. When the buses reached the Art Museum steps, the same steps immortalized by Rocky Balboa, the crowd reached a fever pitch. Nick Sirianni took the microphone, his voice hoarse but full of gratitude. "This isn't just a championship for the Eagles," he said, "it's a championship for every person who believed when others didn't. You, our fans, are the heartbeat of this team." The crowd erupted, chanting, "Sirianni! Sirianni," as he raised his fist. Then Jason Kelce stepped forward. The veteran center, shirtless despite the cold, grabbed the mic and shouted, "No one believed we'd do it again, but look at us now. Look at this city. We are built for moments like this." His speech echoed through the streets, every sentence punctuated by cheers. It was pure Philadelphia, loud, defiant, and full of heart. When it was Hurts' turn to speak, he didn't yell. He simply stood, looked out at the crowd of millions, and said, "We stayed true to who we are. Through every setback, every doubt, we believed. This isn't just about football, it's about resilience. And Philly, nobody does resilience better than you." The crowd roared as he lifted.